All right, guys. Today we've had a lot of insurance gurus come on our show, and we're switching back to realtors today, and so we're really excited. Borino is the master at FSBOs and Expireds, in my opinion. So we just want to. We're excited to have him on the show today, and he's going to talk about how to engage FSBOs and Expireds, and what they can do, what realtors can do to be successful, and things like that. So, Borino, introduce yourself, and then tell us a little bit how you got started of coaching in real estate agents.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Sales Dollars, for inviting me. I've been doing this stuff for over 20 years. I started, like many of you guys, a struggling, hungry realtor. I had no idea what the hell I was getting myself into. I started in Southern California, an area called Bellflower, which was a suburb of Los Angeles. I saw a free ad for a real estate licensing school. I'm like, cool, I'm going to sell somebody's house and make a lot of money, wearing Armani and Rolex and a Benz. It's going to be awesome. It didn't quite turn out that way. A lot of these real estate coaches will tell you, I sold 7 million homes my first year and I bought a castle and all that. Well, 2 years into this crazy business, I was homeless. I struggled really big time. And I can blame all kinds of things, but the reality was I didn't have the right tools. I didn't have the right mindset. I was doing it all wrong. That's why having, like you guys, a tool like this would have been absolutely amazing back then, but we didn't have it. There was a time when MLS was still in the books. You guys remember that? Some of you guys probably do, right? That was the MLS just was coming online as a computer service. That's how old I am. I sold houses in 1764. So it goes way back. Anyways, I was struggling. I was really hungry. And I ran into this guy who says, dude, what are you doing? You're prospecting future leads. And those may or may not work out. And you have to do tons of follow-up and you have tons of competition. Says, you're doing it wrong, doofus. You need to switch. You need to work now leads. And you know how in cartoons you have that light bulb? Mine was this big, just like bing. And so I jumped on just calling FSBOs and Expireds because I realized that these people are already in the process. That's what makes them so cool.
Right.
They're easy to identify. You can literally, with a tool like yours, Gary, how long would it take me to log in and pull leads?
Oh gosh, they come in automatically every day. All they have to do is click play and they're talking. So
there you go. So I can be talking to a potential seller in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
So we didn't have it. I mean, I'm not, poor me, cried about anything, but now it's a lot easier because of the tools like yours. That makes things a lot easier. And then a guy like me comes in and helps you guys with some scripts and some strategies. You can be unstoppable and getting listings literally within days. It's possible. Now, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass pretending it's easy. It's not, but it's doable.
Right, for
and
sure.
Working these kind of leads makes it faster, more efficient, and easier rather than prospecting leads who may or not be ready a year from now, 2 years from now. So that saved my butt.
Right.
And within 10 months, I bought a condo. I bought my first Mercedes. I took my wife to Venice, Italy on vacation, and life has been pretty good since then. Now, it's not, of course, just Expireds and FSBOs. There was more to it than that. But that was the vehicle. That was the biggest shift in my business, is start focusing what's called high probability leads, HPL, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely.
And the reason these are good is because you take an average FSBO. I did an interview with a company who lists FSBOs. But first of all, I want to put their property on. And they've been tracking. They found that 70% of FSBOs end up listing with an agent in about a month. So I'm like, holy shit, talk about an opportunity. These are great sellers. So let's talk about what you need to make this work. There are certain tools and certain mindset and certain dialogues and strategies you must have in place, but it can be done. I mean, I have students who come in, new agents, months in the business sometimes, some veterans, but also new. And they can do this. You can do that as well. So what's the secret? First, remember, speed and efficiency is your friend, because that's what your competition is using. So what do you need? A tool like Speed Dialers absolutely will help you, because you don't have to sift like I did in the Stone Age through the MLS trying to decipher who is an expired, who has relisted, who's on Do Not Call registry, where's the phone number, where's the contact information. And it took a long time. It was very tedious and very laborious. Today, you jump on Sales Dialers, boom, you can be talking, like Gary said, within seconds. You can be in conversation with somebody. So that's the first advantage. Second, the follow-up window, there usually is a follow-up window. These are not magic leads who will say, oh, I can believe you called me. Come on down. We need to sell our house. Seldom works that way. Although if you're as handsome as me, that helps. So what you need is a little bit of a follow-up, but it is the initial contact that is critical. So what is the process? I'm going to walk you through the process, why you should work these folks, what is the best approach that I've tested that's not very complicated or expensive, and how to turn them into clients. First is the mindset. Go into this believing you can make it work. Believe you can do this. The belief is so important, because if you're doubting yourself, if you're fearful, if you're thinking like, well, I don't know if this is going to work, it's not going to work. And the competition who's beating you, who's listing these, and that's the cool thing. If you check MLS statistics, you'll see that expireds are being listed every day. FSBOs go on the market. They either sell by themselves, some do, but many end up listing with an agent. You can do that. And agents who do it start with the mindset, I may not have all the answers. I may not be perfect at this, but I can learn. I can do this. I believe I can. So start with the right mindset. That's step one. Step two, get some tools, because that's what your competition is using. That's what makes them efficient. That's what makes them fast. Because especially with expired listing, put yourself in their position. Here you have a seller who wanted to move at some point. They put the house on the market, probably listed, at least from their perspective, with the wrong agent. The truth is they probably overpriced the damn thing. And now they're sitting there wondering, what the hell am I going to do now? The phone is ringing off the hook. They're disappointed. They're frustrated. They're angry. The sooner you can talk to them, the better chance you have to lock them into a listing. So that's the first strategy. Be the first to talk to them if at all possible. Sometimes it'll be possible. You get them on the phone, and you can use a very simple script. I would just call this, hey, Gary Borino, ABC Real Estate. I'm probably not the first one calling about your house, am I? Get them in a conversation. They chuckle. They say, no, agents have been calling us. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? So have you guys relisted the house yet? Is it back on the market? No, it hasn't been relisted. Oh, that's a bummer. It seems like a really nice house. What do you think went wrong? How come it didn't sell? The secret number two, first is speed. Second is tools. And the third one is use a conversation. At the beginning, when I struggled with this, I tried to memorize scripts. Like some of you probably went online or went to a workshop and somebody says, you got to say these magic words. It really is not in a script. It is in a conversation. Because as you guys know, real estate is still a people business. Yes, we have these awesome tools and we have technology and we have Facebook and we have social media, we have all these cool things. But at the end, the bottom line of the business comes down to one human being helping another human being. It's a people business. So if you can detach yourself from the persona of a salesperson and just have a genuine conversation with these people,
right,
it works like magic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So get them on the phone as soon as possible, have a little conversation with them, use this simple dialogue, ask a few questions. Doesn't need to be long, doesn't need to be too evolved. You don't need to spend 20, 30 minutes with them. On contrary, short is better.
Right.
Then the next step is go visit them in person. You're going to eliminate a lot, if not all, your competition. And this was my secret. I would get them on the phone if I could, find out if they haven't relisted, and most of the time they haven't. And after that, they may give you some objections. They may tell you things like, we don't know what we're going to do, or we're going to go back to our previous agent. A lot of times it's just a noise. And the reason I know that is because check your statistics. If you check your MLS statistics, you will see that there's a big chunk of these expireds who either wait or relist right away with somebody else. And that's your opportunity. You with me so far? Not that complicated. Now, this does require persistence. You have to do this daily. It's a system. And I developed a system now called the Expired Plus. So that's your next step, is visit them in person. Same thing, just have a conversation with them.
So walk us through that. How would you get them in? How would you say, how can I come see you? That's what agents want to know.
Excellent question. Soft, non-threatening. For those of you guys who've been around for a while, if you try to go straight for a listing appointment, it's a big leap. That'd be kind of like taking a girl on a first date and then say, hey, baby, why don't you come to my place? Come check out my bedroom. You know, that usually does not work in most cases because it's a big leap. You're a stranger. Same thing here. If you're on the phone with these folks, you're a stranger to them. So they have no reason to trust you yet. And as you know, the business is based on trust. They must like you, trust you, and respect you in order for you to do business with you. So instead of going for a listing appointment, just go for the short visit. Take them through these baby steps. A little conversation, a short visit, ask more questions, qualify, build trust and rapport. Then you're ready for a listing appointment or follow-up. You set them up on follow-up. So what I would say is, well, Gary, let's do this. Why don't I stop by just for 2 or 3 minutes just to say hi, just to introduce myself. I have this package that I can drop off, kind of cool, interesting information on what's going on. Because who knows, maybe down the road you guys change your mind or decide to give it another shot. I'll be happy to talk to you. I can swing by tonight around 4:45. Would that work for you?
Sure.
Most of the time, that's what they say. Why? Because they still want to sell. And if I do it in a soft, non-threatening, non-salesy way, very often they will say, yeah, you can come by, it's fine. But, and I will make it a point, don't worry, I'm not there to pressure you to list your house. That's important. I remove that fear.
Yeah. So tell me how some agents make a mistake when they're going for that, trying to get that listing appointment. What are some things that they say that they shouldn't?
Excellent
Some
question. They
sales.
talk about themselves.
Ah.
I am number one. I help this many
Ah.
sellers. We are the biggest company. We
Yes.
do this. I have a marketing plan. Or worse, they lie and they say I have a buyer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I might have a buyer for your house. Let me just stop by and introduce myself, blah, 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 blah. You don't want to start an honest, mutually beneficial relationship on a lie. I have a big problem with it. I always say you can be very successful, very wealthy, and still be honest. No need to lie to them. So I would stay away from gimmicks like that. They may have worked in 1764 or whenever I was in real estate. I don't think it did that because it doesn't feel right. And also, don't be salesy. Don't need to say any scripts, recite scripts like everybody else. Because the problem you're going to run into, if you sound like everybody else, you're going to be treated like everybody else. Just another agent desperate for a listing.
Right.
Stay away from that.
Tell me about FSBOs and Expireds. Tell me how you should treat them different.
Very good question. It's a very different animal.
Sure.
The approach is different because the psychology is different. With FSBO, what they're really saying is our agent was so incompetent, so bad, we can do it better. They'd be kind of like saying, my dentist so screwed up my tooth, I will do it myself.
Right.
That's really what they're attempting. But the approach must be different. With Expired, if they are motivated, if they still have a need to sell, they are entertaining the idea of interviewing other agents and putting it back on the market, even though they may not admit it. With FSBO, the approach is different. There, you don't go for the listing, you go for being helpful. So it's a different strategy, different tactic. That's why I have two very different systems, one for FSBOs and one expired. So if an expired goes FSBO or just you have a FSBO, definitely work them because if you look at the numbers, they do end up listing. But there the approach is, Gary, let me just swing by. I have some cool information. I have a list of websites where you should advertise your property. Would that be helpful? Would you like to know where you should be in order for you to attract buyers?
Heck yes.
Great. I'll swing by. I'll drop it off. And question for you. If I have somebody who is interested, do you cooperate with agents? Would you pay a commission?
Yeah.
Would you consider it?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. At least entertain it.
Cool. Let's do this. Let me swing by just for 5 minutes. Give me a quick tour of the property so I can tell my buyers about it. Tonight, 4:45, okay?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's fine.
That's it. Simple. Simple. I put their time constraint there.
Sure.
I'm not going to sit there for 30 minutes. Quick tour, give me a quick tour, and I will honor that. In other words, I'm not going to waste their time. I'm not going to try to convert them. Now, occasionally you will have a seller who's super hot, and I mean hot as in motivation, who is ready to realist, and you click. But that's an exception. In most cases, you will have a nice conversation, start establishing a relationship, and put them on a follow-up. The secret to these both, and that's the next step on that list, is have a system, a CRM system in place that will allow you to keep in touch with these folks. Because my listings, almost every single one I've ever taken from the expireds and others, came from follow-up. And if you really think about it, it makes logical sense. They need to trust you. They need to get to know you a little bit. They need to develop a relationship. You need to be positioned as the competent authority. And that sometimes may take some time. Now, that can be a few days. If the expired is really motivated, you had sellers like that. It's a job transfer, or they're getting divorced, or there are some circumstances that put a solid time pressure on them. They don't have time to screw around. So with those, you're going to move swiftly. But even then, some follow-up may be necessary. So what I developed was an expired package. This was a little marketing piece, nothing super fancy, just a brochure specifically written and designed for expired. There's a cover letter, some marketing pieces, and you either hand it to the seller or you leave it with them if they're not there. And then you just start following up. Your listings will come from follow-up. So the first impression is very important.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is the follow-up where the magic happens, where the conversions happen.
So your scripts, no pressure. I wouldn't feel any pressure. You make it sound like it's just like you're a friend talking to a friend.
And that's really the idea. That's a good observation. You want them to feel comfortable talking with you.
Right.
Because most of the agents use pretty high pressure scripts, or they're too needy, too low status, too nice. Mm-hmm. They're sucking up to the seller. And neither way works very well because people can pick up on it, that something is going on, doesn't feel right. But if I engage them in a regular conversation, like I don't have a huge agenda, because here's the thing, guys, you don't even know whether you can or want to help them. You really don't know. You don't know their circumstances. You may not know the house. You don't know the condition or any of that. So you don't even know if you want that listing. That's going to come later once you're clear. This is what they want to do. Here's how realistic they are. This is their motivation. Can I help them? Do I want to help them? Do you want to work with them? You don't know. So explore that. And if you put less pressure on you and them, the conversation will flow much easier and you're going to get much better results.
You know, I think this takes probably just practice. I mean, getting that practice, talking to that person, you know, and that's where, you know, a solution like ours, where it lets you practice so much to talk to those people. Once you do it so much, it becomes second nature, right? And then,
that is so true.
Yeah, and then you're, you know, then it feels like it's just a conversation. Now, I could understand in the beginning, Borino, where, you know, everybody's nervous and, you know, they're scared to call somebody, they're scared to ask for an appointment. But, you know, that's the good thing about, you talked about speed and tools, because, you know, once you do it so many times, you really do get used to it. You do.
Yeah, and you do. I mean, I'm the living proof. I'll be honest with you guys. I've been honest all along, but this is real truth. I don't have any special skills. We had yesterday, I have a coaching program called The Path, and we had a bunch of people in role play session where I work with people to develop better, more confident communication with them. And the comments I get all the time, man, you make it sound so easy. You make it sound so good. You're so good. You have such talent for this. I'm like, bullshit. I have no talent. It's just like you said, it's repetition. I did it over and over and over and over. Just like if you want to play tennis, you just hit that ball against the wall until you start getting it right. Or you practice golf. It's the same thing. Right. And talking about being nervous, you want to see my first conversation with expireds? I had the MLS printout, was sitting in my car, and I was shaking like this. No joke. And my palms were so sweaty. I'm like, I hope they won't shake my hand. Because I will freak them out. They will slam that door faster than I can say go. I was so nervous. And it took me like 20 minutes to get out of the goddamn car just to make it to the door. I was freaking out. But you know what? The reality was either I will suck up to my fear, I will cave and give in, or I will say, I'm going to conquer this. And even if I suck, and if I'm nervous, even if it's going to be horrible, if other people figure this out, I can too. And I did. I really did. The first few, horrible. I mean, dude, talk about good, entertaining reality show. If somebody back then would have followed me with a camera, pure gold, comedy gold. It was horrible. But little by little, I sucked less, and I was a little less nervous. I got a little better. Role play helps a lot. I would have in the morning, a cup of coffee, and we would just practice. That's the secret.
So we're going to come back to the path where we talk about role playing, because some agents want to know about that. So we're going to review that at the end, and we're going to go over that. So let's talk about some objections. What is the number one objection for a listing appointment? What do you hear, and how do you overcome it?
Very good question. First, let me explain that most of the time when you hear an objection, it's not really an objection, it's a brush. And what people politely are telling you, we don't like you, we don't trust you, we don't feel compelled to do business with you. And they will tell you things like, we're going to go back to our previous agent. We don't know what we're going to do. We will probably stay. I had this lovely couple, old couple, Whittier, California, small little house. And I had a very nice conversation. This gentleman was saying, we were going to go to Oregon, changed our mind. We're going to stay. But thanks for stopping by. Leave me your card. If we change our mind, we'll call you. 6 weeks later, Coldwell Banker signed, my competitor signed on the front door. I'm like, what the hell? They just told me they're not going anywhere. It's not that they're lying, but in their frame of mind where there's so much disappointment and these emotions, they will tell you things that even they believe at the time are true. So if you hear things like, we're going to do this, we're going to go with this agent, we're going to do that, take it with a giant rock of salt. Because in reality, even they don't know what they're really going to end up doing. So the answer there is, rather than trying some very clever rebuttals or objection handlers, just continue the conversation. And one of the best questions you can ask in a situation like that, you would ask, well, Gary, let me ask you. I understand you guys want to stay, and sometimes that makes perfect sense. I mean, you gave it a try, it didn't work out. But let's say a buyer walks in tomorrow, suitcase full of cash, they fall in love with your house, and they're ready to offer you a good price, something you guys would be happy with. Would you at least consider it?
Of course.
And this is what I'm waiting. Unless they tell me, hell no. Whatever they say, I observe not just what they say, but their body language, the overall energy. Would there be some excitement, hope, possibility, or will they completely shut down the idea? And you can tell a lot just by observing how they react to this question. And if they say, yeah, we would consider it, I know I have a chance. So all I have to do then is just continue, ask a few more questions. Have you picked the house down in Florida yet? Oh, wonderful. Golf course? Do you guys play golf? You know, I've never tried golf. Is it fun? Conversation. The skill is a people skill.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
Helpful?
So a lot of people nowadays, and I've seen this from from people I meet at conferences, people don't have those people skills and conversation skills. They
Yes.
want instant gratification where they think that they should talk to somebody over the phone and they should be signing the deal for the listing right then. But what you have to do to be successful is have some patience, is what you sound like, right?
That is a great word. Patience is absolutely key. Think about it this way. Real estate in many ways is a lot like dating. Two strangers kind of trying to feel each other out in a good way, a business way.
Yeah.
But you understand my metaphor? It's like dating. Stranger plus stranger, getting to know each other. One has a problem. You as a pro have a solution, but you first need to figure out who they are, what they're trying to do. So the best method for that is be interested in them, ask them a lot of questions, make it all about them. Because the truth, friends, is they don't give a shit about you. They don't care. They don't care about you, how long you've been in the business. They don't care. It's not about you. It's about them. If you have a solution to their problem, and if you build enough trust in that relationship where they open up and tell you, the reason we need to move is because my daughter, she's going through this terrible relationship and we need to be closer to the grandkids, or you're going to hear all kinds of stories. The real reason why they want to sell and how you can help them. That's the key.
Right. And what a lot of people in sales that we've seen, you're not going to be, this might be backwards or no. Can you read this?
Let me see. What does it say? I need to put my smart glasses on.
That's okay.
No,
Listen.
can't. Listen. Yeah, perfect. Yes. Yes.
Listen to them, right? Yes. Tell us how important that is.
I'll give you a strategy that probably is one of the most powerful ways of communicating. It's called the 80-20 principle. When you're talking to a prospect, let them do 80% of the talking. You do 20%. Let them do most of the talking. That's one. And two, 80% of what you say should be questions. If you mastered the art of asking interesting, relevant questions, not just sales questions that you memorize. I mean, think about it this way. Using the example of dating, would you memorize a script to go on a date with a girl you like?
Depends how desperate I was.
Must have been a good script, though.
Yeah. Anyway.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You would be interested. You would have a conversation. You would be curious. You want to know what they like, what they don't like, who they are. Same thing here. It's the same thing. Because once they like you and trust you and respect you as the authority, they don't care how big your company is. They don't care what kind of marketing plan you have, how many homes you sold last year. They like you. They trust you. In their positioning, in your position, you're their best choice. That's all you need.
Right. Okay, cool. Let's talk, because we want to keep this, we're going to try to keep this, we're going to go over just a little bit. I want to touch on motivation, Borino. Motivation to keep an agent going, to a struggling agent that's not having much success. What can they do for motivation that keeps them going until they can get that sale, and then another sale, and then another sale?
That is a great question. It was a Saturday morning. I was sleeping in a Cadillac DeVille. Big old Cadillac boat. It was a rust bucket. The right passenger window wouldn't go up. And that was my home. That was my transportation and my office. And it was a Saturday morning, kind of a shitty California day where the marine layer rolls over and it's cold and it's unpleasant and it's not that beautiful sunny days that you normally see on TV. And I was parked behind a liquor store because they had these big lights and I felt safe there. I couldn't sleep in the office because they had a 9 alarm and I kept tripping it off. I was homeless. You talk about struggle. So you ask yourself, why in the world would this guy keep trying this real estate thing if clearly being homeless is a pretty good indicator you're not very good at it?
Yeah.
You're not making a lot of money.
Say so.
So many people said, dude, you're stupid. You're either stupid, but why would you get a job? This is a bad time to be in real estate. Market is tanking. It's hard to make money. Just do something else. Even in the toughest times, and this was not the only, but definitely the lowest point of my stellar real estate career, there was this sense I had of hope, possibility, and freedom that I was after. So for those of you guys who are not where you want to be, and there's plenty of you, and I totally understand that. I'm not telling you to impress you how phenomenal I was to bounce back, but I'm telling this story to people just to show you that I can relate to some struggle. I know a thing or two about that. If you focus more on what you want, what you're after, the lifestyle you're building for yourself and your family, maybe your kids, your spouse, if you stay focused just on that, and if you just keep asking yourself one question, what is my next step to get there? That's what I just kept asking. I know it's not working, but if I start agonizing over how terrible I am and beat myself up, and if I just keep focusing on the negative, that's all I'm going to get more of because I'm giving it attention and energy.
Right.
So if you can just start thinking about, well, I'd like to drive a Mercedes 450 GL. That happens to be my car I like. I would like to live in this neighborhood. There's a part of area where I live called Friendly Hills, very luxurious. I would drive through sometimes and pretend that's my house. I live there. Buy something nice that represents the status you want to achieve and constantly remind. Like, I'm a big believer in vision boards.
I was going to say the same thing.
I love that because it's a nice visual, constant reminder. This is what I'm after. And it is not that one day you're going to wake up, jump on sales dialers and say, I love calling expired listings, give me more. That's never going to happen.
No.
So you're not going to love the process. Like, I go to the gym. I work out 4 times a week to lose my gut. I don't love working out, but boy, do I like the fact that I lost so far 16 pounds. I like the results. I like the process that gets me to the goal I want. And I'm excited about the goal. So the journey may not be fun. It is boring at times. It is tiring at times. It is difficult at times. I get it. But think about it this way. You, within the next 3 to 5 years, can reach $385,000 in annual income. That's possible. I'm not saying you will do it, but it's possible. You know who also makes $385,000 a year?
Who?
Brain surgeons. That's the average annual salary of a neurosurgeon who will fuck your brain up. And if they make a mistake, you die. And it takes them 12 to 18 years to reach that level of income. You can do it in 3 to 5 years. And here's the best part. They're going to be about $300,000 in debt for the medical school. You're going to be in zero debt. That's the difference. You can build freedom and an amazing lifestyle very quickly with very little investment. You don't need to study piles of medical books and do all that. And if you make a little mistake, no big deal, nobody dies. But you can be at the same status, same level, same freedom. Keep that in mind. Keep focused on that, what you can and will have if you just stay with it. And of course, the right tools and education and training and all that helps. But at the end, it's more mindset than anything else.
You know, Borino, and this is great information, you know, when you have a business and you know this, there's so much comfort in life whenever you have decisions and choices every day when you wake up. Not everybody has that. Some people have to go to work at 9 a.m. and they have to work till 5 p.m. Some people have to go in at midnight shift or whatever that is. But when you get to the point when your real estate career and you're successful and you get to that point where you can go, hey, I don't have to go into work today, or I can work from home today, or I can take off today. When you get to that point where you have choices and you can make every day to decide what you want to do in your career, that is a really darn good feeling.
Oh, that is so true, Gary. I totally agree with that. And you know, agents sometimes complain how real estate is hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It is hard.
Right.
But my neighbor across the street, he's a retired attorney, a really nice guy. They have a nice big house across from us. He had 2 guys dig this ditch to drain some of the water. We have quite heavy rains here occasionally. So these 2 guys, shovel, pick, you know, the usual typical traditional tools, were digging. And it was about 95 degrees out there. It was one of those hot Virginia muggy summers where it's just baking out there. And I was watching it through my office window, sitting in my office, complaining how hard my day was. Something wasn't working right. And I'm like, feet up, I'm drinking iced tea, chilling, looking out of the window. And these 2 dudes are sweating like you won't believe, like drenched in sweat, working their ass off for what? Probably $12 an hour. And I'm sitting here going, oh, my life is so hard, my work is so hard. And I'm looking at the guys going, bullshit. That's hard.
Right.
And they're probably happy making a few bucks, having an opportunity to earn some food for their family. And they were not complaining, dude. They were working their ass off. They were really hustling, these 2 guys. I'm like, what am I complaining about? That's hard work. You know why that's hard? You control your destiny. You're in charge. Yes, you have to hustle. Yes, you have to work hard. Yes, it requires persistence, and you have to deal with rejection and people's bullshit. And you have to be a psychologist, and you have to be a market expert. There's all kinds of hats you have to wear. But you're in control. These 2 guys, once the job is done, they have to go look. They have to start all over again. And there are no promises. And at the end, the payoff, this little compared to what you can make. The potential you have, the freedom that's available. There's no comparison. So don't come and cry too much how hard it is. It's not that hard.
Right. You know, you just hit a couple things that come to my mind. You know, it's people, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. You know, as far as it being difficult, if it were easy, Borino, every person in the United States would be a realtor. So it's not easy, but there are a lot of tools out there. And with your system, you can have success and be incredibly successful if you work. Just work. Just work.
You know what the biggest trap, Gary? I don't think even failure is such a big trap. You know what the worst part is? Good enough. You drive a little Toyota Corolla, you live in a little apartment, it's good enough. And if you don't make that sale, it's not the end of the world. You can survive. That's the biggest problem. Yeah. If your goals are not so big where not getting them is not an option. Like me getting out of that car was the only possibility. I made a decision. I was like, that's it. Burning all the bridges. It's a do or die, baby. And if I don't make this work, I'm getting out of real estate. I'm going to be the biggest miserable failure ever. If you make your goal so important, and if you say, I will not stop until I have that, whatever that is for you, that's the right mindset. But until it's like very tentative, like, yeah, it'd be nice, but, you know, pay off some bills, pay off some credit cards, and it's not good enough. It's not strong enough. It doesn't have enough juice, not enough power in it. You need to have that. You need to have such a big fire under your ass that stopping simply is not possible.
Right.
That's what you need.
Right. And that probably is what the difference is between a successful agent and an agent that sells one house a year or a couple houses a year. Right.
Yeah. And the problem is you can survive on one house a month. It's not going to be a great lifestyle, but you're like, well, you know, the bills are paid.
Right.
But that's such a wasted opportunity.
Right.
You know, help, not just the money. The money's great. Don't get me wrong. I like money. I have no problem with it. But also the opportunity to be cool, to really excel at something, help people. There's so much incompetence in this industry, and you, Gary, know it more than anyone, how tons of agents have no business being in this business. Right. So somebody like you guys who are better educated, more ambitious, and cool with people, come in. You're a breath of fresh air. So you almost have an obligation to serve your community.
Right.
Not almost. You have an obligation. And
for sure. Okay, so I want to circle back around and talk about that role-playing thing, because agents would love to practice calls, scripts, selling, so forth. Tell us about what you did, and I don't even know what it was. Is it a Facebook group? Is it a webinar? What is it where you can do role-playing and stuff? Good
question. I have a private coaching program called The Path, where I bring agents in, and we build your business from scratch. Whether you've been at it, I mean, I have some agents in the Path who've been at it for 25, 30 years who want to do better or want to take more time off, whatever the goals are. And I have some people who've been at it for a few weeks, fresh agents, you know, the license is still warm. They come in. So we work together. It's a group coaching. And in addition to the coaching that we do, like the sessions we had yesterday, which is role playing and working on your communication, you get all my systems. I have several systems. I have a listing presentation system. I have an expired system, FSBO system. And every month, we help you build a different system, from lead generation to time management to communication to follow-up, presentation, all these tools that you need to have in place to have a successful and profitable business. There are live sessions. I do Q&A sessions, hot seats. We have accountability every Monday morning.
That's big.
We review, your goals and tasks for the week, so you make sure you're on track. And of course, there's tons of support. We have a community. We have a private Facebook group where everybody hangs out. We post questions. You have access to me. So if you need my direct help, that's possible as well. So it's a great group. It's called The Path. If you go to goborino.com, there's a video that explains what you get, how it works. It's month to month. There are no long-term contracts. Stay for as long as you want. It's only $197 a month. That includes everything, the books, the systems, the coaching. It's all part of it.
That sounds like a great deal for an agent to, instead of relying on maybe their broker to provide some stuff, you know, which, let's face it, we know a lot of those brokers don't provide much support. But this is sounds like it's a great opportunity for an agent that might, be starting out, or an agent that hasn't been successful, and they've been in the real estate industry for a while. But at least they have some place where they can go and get everything that they need that is proven to be successful, and it's going to set you up for success with all this support.
And that's the idea, because when I started putting together, like the URL you have behind you was one of the first systems I developed. That's the Expired Plus. And you can get it. You can buy it. You get a book, marketing materials, coaching videos, the whole thing. But as I started putting these things together, agents would come to me and says, well, what about time management? Dude, I feel so disorganized and overwhelmed. So we added the time management. What about communication? I get these objections, or I don't know how to set appointments. So we added that, and we started building it. And then I realized that this is not something I can just give you as videos or book, that there needs to be a human element too, where I can walk you through it, and we need to work on it together. And that's how the whole program of The Path was born.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get your contact info, because I know a lot of people are going to want to reach out to you. What's your email address, Borino?
Borino at expiredplus.com, which you see behind Gary. It's my email, borino@expiredplus.com. We have a big group on Facebook. If you want to join us, it's a free group called Real Estate Rockstars. We have like 35,000 people there, exchanging ideas, asking questions, working. I do my live broadcast daily where I answer questions, help people. So look us up, Real Estate Rockstars. Shoot me an email or just hit me up on Facebook.
Okay, cool. All right, well, Borino, well, thank you so much. We ran over a little bit today. We're about 40 minutes, but I just want to say thank you for being on the show. Can we have you back, please?
I would love to come back. There's plenty more I would love to teach you. Absolutely. Thanks for having me, by the way. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, sit here for 2 hours. There's lots to
I know. We've only touched. We're at the tip of the iceberg. We have so much more to cover. So we're going to get you back on the show again. Borino, thanks for being on the show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Let's go get them. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Borino. Hey, we're going to send you a copy of this, okay?
Please, I'll post it on Rockstars. Absolutely.
Okay, we'll send you a copy. I'll have Eric do it, and I'm serious about having you back. We need to touch on more in-depth stuff, okay?
Would love to. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Just give me a little heads up. We'll put it on the calendar.
Cool. All right, man. Hey, thank you. We're going to send you
Great chatting. All right, take care. Bye, Gary.